Hey y'all, so I just made this demo file because I thought it would be a good way to basically demonstrate some different things you can do with Flash, and I also thought right now it would be a good way to go over basically some Flash basics, because I have talked about certain, things and how certain tools work, but I haven't necessarily gone over some other things I would like to talk about. So one of the things I think I haven't approached is this tool, which is the ink bottle tool. And this is a tool where basically if you want to put a stroke or vector line around, something, you can do that, right? So see how I just clicked that and it has a black line around it, or it did. Need to go back down there. But yeah, so that's just what that does, because I think this tool right here that does these types of lines, it's very good for blocking things out, and sometimes you may block something out, in terms of like shape, and then realize you want it to have an outline, so then you can just do that, and that's pretty useful. And here, because we have the background changing colors, and we have this whole big gradient thing going on, stage color doesn't really necessarily come into play, because the stage it's filled up by everything, but sometimes it is important, to know about stage color and, what stage color, can do and how it can help you, because sometimes, you will have an environment or something that's mostly one color, and just having the stage be a certain color could help you. So, if you do want to go and change the stage color, you go into modify document, and then as you can see, stage color is right here, and it is white, and you can change that to, whatever is needed, whatever suits you at the time. If you're completely, in the dark, perhaps you could do a black stage color, and then things are outlined in white. Things like that can look pretty cool, but yeah, it could be lime green, it could be, whatever it is basically you need. We're gonna keep it white right now, just because I think that color is good for, doing some other stuff that I might want to demonstrate. You also have, your eyedrop tool, which lets you pick specific colors, and sometimes that's good when you have a gradient, because, maybe you want a color between one color and another, and picking out necessarily what that might be is proving a little tricky. If you really want, you can just like make a gradient and kind of figure that out. And so we have the stage and things which can be modified in the document settings. You can also affect size here. For the project, you're going to keep it 1920 by 1080, because that is, that's industry standard kind of file size. So you are going to want to do that. But then layers also have their own kind of properties. You can set them up to be transparent, right? Or not. And sometimes that's good, because especially when you're sketching, because sometimes you don't want maybe a sketch you've done to overtake everything. And also, each layer has this nifty thing where if you click these weird colored bars, it just shows the outline, and sometimes that's great, but sometimes maybe the line is blending a bit into something you want visible. For example, like the line around these clouds is pink, and right now the sky's pink. So maybe if you want that line to be a bit different, you could go into outline color, and then it's lime green, So those are just some simple things that you can do to, just accomplish things in Flash a bit quickly, and also, maybe just some things like stage color, I believe, actually used to be in other, settings, but I can't find it in properties anymore, so now it's over here, and yeah, that as well. Also, if you have trouble, filling something, with a color, like I use the fill tool, I can fill this cloud, make it blue, but maybe I'm trying to fill an outline that's, like, empty, and for whatever reason I'm having trouble, I can do it right there because this doesn't have any gaps, but if perhaps your vector has gaps, which sometimes it can be really hard to tell, you need to be in the fill tool to select this, but you will have this menu that tells you whether you can close gaps or not. That will be just under the color picker. So those are just a few different things that you can do, and those are some different, really basic tools. And right now I have my video in 24 frames per second. Frame rate might be something you want to affect in, your animation. I could want it to be 12, in which case I'd go change it to 12. And yeah, so those are some simple tools. And when you do have things, tweened, when it's a shape, it's pretty different than when it's a classic tween, but here it's a classic tween, and so then those things become like a symbol. Yeah, and here's my list of all the tweens. Oh boy. And that's the other thing, is when you are dealing with so many tweens, you can also go in and delete some of those if you find they aren't relevant. Just like deleting old tweens and things. Yeah, like in this menu, you can go in and delete things you don't need. But yeah, in terms of basic tools, I don't think I've gone over. That's essentially it. So that was just something I wanted to talk about a little bit, and yeah, just some basic tools.